If you're a business analyst today, there's one skill that is completely changing the game, and that's data analysis. The traditional BA role, it was about being a bridge between the business side and the tech side. But honestly, that's not enough anymore. So let's talk about how data transforms you from just a bridge into an absolutely essential strategic advisor.
So let me ask you something right off the bat, and be honest with yourself. Are the recommendations you're making based on assumptions and gut feelings, or are they based on cold, hard facts? This one question, right here, is at the very heart of why data analysis isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a must-have.
All right, first up, the BA's secret weapon. Let's dive into why data isn't just another buzzword or something to add to your resume. It's a powerful tool for driving real, measurable business value.
Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine you're in a meeting, and a stakeholder says, "We need more customer engagement." The assumption-based BA might say, "Okay, let's build a social sharing button." But a data-driven BA? Well, they change the entire conversation. They can come to the table and say, "Actually, I was looking at our analytics, and 80% of our users are abandoning their shopping carts right at the final checkout step. If we fix that, it's going to have a much bigger impact." See the difference? One's a guess, the other is a targeted, fact-based solution. And that right there is the true power of data. First, it lets you quantify the problem. You can turn a vague, "I think we have an issue here," into a powerful, "This issue is costing us $50,000 a month." Second, you can validate your solutions with actual evidence, not just opinions in a meeting. And finally, you get to measure success, proving that the fix you recommended actually worked.
So hopefully you're sold on the why. Now let's get practical and talk about the what. Welcome to Section 2, a data-driven toolkit. We're going to look at the essential tools for the job.
And hey, let's be really clear about something. You do not need to be a data scientist to do this. The goal isn't to become a PhD-level statistician. The goal is to be a data-savvy BA, someone who knows how to use the right tools to answer critical business questions. I like to think of this toolkit as a three-step progression. We're going to start with the foundation that pretty much everyone has access to, Excel. Then we'll move up to the storytellers. That's our BI tools. And finally, for those who really want to level up, we get to the query masters with SQL.
Every BA's journey into data really starts with Excel. It's your Swiss Army knife. It's the most accessible tool out there for doing some quick and dirty analysis, summarizing a new data set, and just getting a feel for the story the numbers are trying to tell you.
And look, you don't need to be an Excel wizard. Just mastering a few key techniques is a total game changer. Pivot tables, they're basically magic for summarizing thousands of rows in seconds. Functions like VLOOKUP let you pull in and connect different pieces of data. And even simple conditional formatting can make the important stuff, the insights and the outliers, just pop right off the screen.
Okay, but what about when a static chart in a spreadsheet just isn't enough? That's when you bring in the storytellers, business intelligence tools like Power BI or Tableau. This is where you really elevate your game, turning raw numbers into these compelling interactive dashboards that let your stakeholders literally play with the data themselves. And finally, the ultimate level up, SQL. Think of SQL as the language that lets you talk directly to databases. Knowing even a little bit of SQL is a superpower because it gives you independence. You no longer have to wait for a developer to pull data for you. You can just go get it yourself. It gives you incredible speed.
All right, so we've covered the why, the reason this is so important. And we've covered the what, the tools you need. Now for the most crucial part, the how. Section 3, from data to action. This is where we turn those raw numbers into real insights.
The journey of any data analysis, and I mean any analysis, always starts right here, with descriptive analytics. It's the most fundamental step. You're simply looking at the data and answering one basic question: what happened? It's the foundation for everything else.
So a simple descriptive statement sounds like this: our sales were $100,000 last quarter. That's it. It's a fact, it's clear, it's concise, and it gives everyone a baseline reality that we can all agree on before we move forward. But of course, just knowing what happened isn't enough, is it? The very next question everyone asks is why? This is where you put on your detective hat. This is diagnostic analytics. You're digging in to find the root cause, the explanation behind the numbers.
So let's build on our example. Our sales were down because we had a website outage during our biggest promotional event. Aha! See? Now we have context. We've connected the what to the why. Now it's a story.
So, once we understand what happened and why it happened, we can start to look to the future. That brings us to predictive analytics. Here, we're using all that historical data to forecast what's likely to happen next if we don't change a thing.
Continuing our story, a predictive insight would sound like this. If we don't fix this website stability issue, we're projecting a 15% revenue loss over the next 6 months. Whoa. Okay, now you've got everyone's attention. You've just created a real sense of urgency.
And all of this leads to the final, and I think the most valuable step of them all. Prescriptive analytics. This is the so what moment. It's where you, the BA, provide a clear, data-backed recommendation for what we should do about it. And to close our loop, the prescription is, we need to invest in cloud hosting and perform load testing on our website to prevent future outages. And boom, there it is, a direct, actionable recommendation that solves the root cause we diagnosed and prevents the negative future we predicted. That is the peak of data-driven advice.
So, what happens when you combine this amazing toolkit with this 4-step way of thinking? Well, it stops being just another task you have to do. It becomes your strategic superpower. And this really is the ultimate transformation. You shift from just being a facilitator, someone who gathers requirements in a meeting, to being a powerful, data-driven strategic advisor who actually helps guide the business toward its most important decisions. It fundamentally changes your role.
At the end of the day, this data-driven approach is your career advantage. When your recommendations are backed by real evidence, you just become more credible. You become more influential in meetings. And ultimately, you become more strategic in everything you do.
So I'll leave you with a challenge. With this framework in mind, right now, what is the very first business problem you're going to solve with data? Because your journey from facilitator to strategic advisor, it starts right there.